All right, hey everybody, welcome back. Another news feed here for you. This one kicking it off right off the bat. Kelley Blue Book's top 10 picks for resale value 2025. These things do crack me up. And now Kelley Blue Book is a good company and I like them a lot. I'm not taking anything away, but you just simply cannot. Okay, you cannot. It's just not there. But, these vehicles, every vehicle on the list here they have, these are the vehicles, 10 vehicles with the best resale value. The thing you got to understand in reality is in order to give a resale value, they have to have years of data and they base it on past experiences and transactions and everything that has happened in the past. And yet, this vehicle right here, this vehicle right here, this vehicle right here, these vehicles have not been out. They've only been out for a year or 2 years, so this is all speculation, is what it is. It's predicted, and this stuff goes up in flames very quickly. We know that. For example, Wrangler and Gladiator always had the best resale value. If you bought one in 2020 or 2021 or 2022 or 2023, you expected incredible resale value on those. Now they're in a tank. Okay, you cannot predict the reality of this. And when you look at it, the numbers, if you look at on their top 10, you're only talking about a difference of 10% here across the board. So realistically, I take all this resale value BS as a bunch of BS. Nobody can predict the market, especially the wholesale and the used market. Nobody can predict it under any circumstances, so it's all kind of a joke. But here is the list for you if you want to see it. So we got the Tacoma coming in at number 1. That's what they're saying, best resale value. However, yet on the same note, we have 4th-gen Tacomas, or 3rd-gen Tacomas that are selling for more than 4th-gens are used. So again, you take all that stuff with a grain of salt. I don't know nothing about cars, so I'm out there. Tundra's doing okay, but you also have to remember another thing on this list too is that Toyota might retain the Tundra and the Tacoma. They might very well retain 64%. Call it 60. Let's just call it 64. Let's take a Tacoma. So a Tacoma's let's do a Tundra. Let's do the Tundra because it's full size. Most people play in a full size world. It's going to retain 61% of its value. Okay, but if you drive it, so you're going to get 60% of your value. Now, I don't know what for example, let's take a Dodge Ram. I don't know what a Ram 1500's value would be. I'm going to guess that it's probably, let's just say even in a worst case scenario, worst case is going to be 50%. So it's 50%, so it's 10% worse. But you can get a 20% discount on the Ram where you're not getting a 20% discount, maybe a 5% discount if you're lucky at most Toyota dealers on the Tundra. Therefore, the resale value is actually better on the Ram than it is the Tundra. Do you see what I'm getting at here? Everything has to be taken with a grain of salt. The Tacoma's coming in at 64%. Look at the price of what it costs to buy a Tacoma, even a TRD off-road premium versus what it costs to buy a Colorado ZR2. Something like that, and then or a Canyon AT4X, and then you get you're getting 15-18% off on the ZR2. Therefore, you're talking about a much better resale value because you bought your resale up front. That's the key thing you need to understand. So we have a list. Resale value in many ways reflects the quality of the vehicle itself. No, it doesn't. It reflects the fact that they don't budge too much. I don't buy into any of this stuff. None of this stuff matters to me. Again, I've been at this game for too long to know that the days of before where every engine in the truck was basically, every midsize was naturally aspirated, every full size except for Ford was naturally aspirated, everything was simple, designs were simple. You know what? Things were a lot easier then. Now, with all the complication of technology, the constant recalls, the engines that blow up everywhere for every brand, all the things that are going on, this is pure speculative BS. It means nothing as far as I'm concerned. So that's my attitude here. The rankings are based on statistical models looking at millions of transactions is how they're figuring this. Again, most of these vehicles haven't even been out a year or 2 years. There's just no way to predict this. It says the average new vehicle will be worth about 44.6 of its original sticker price after 60 months. These 10 vehicles retain almost 58% of their owners' pockets. Do the math again. If you got 20% off of MSRP, that puts you way ahead of these 10%. So that's, you buy your stuff up front on it. That is the way to do it. So pretty interesting. We do have the actual KBB list here where they did it. This is right off of KBB's website. And they got it right here, and they break it down by category. These are your top 10. We just saw that list. Okay, and like Porsche, for example, a Porsche 911. If you look at history, Porsche has got the worst resale value of pretty much every brand there has been. Forever it's been that way. Now all of a sudden a Porsche 911 is way up there in the top 10. Like I said, everything changes so often that if you went out and bought a new Tacoma today and you assume that you're going to get 64.1% 5 years from now, you might be very well surprised. And on the same note, you could go out and buy a Ford Ranger and it might say that you're going to get 50% or even 48%, and you very well might get way more than this. Right now, as we have talked about, actually, I showed you in one of my videos, I talked about resale value. We did it legitly. What I mean by that is we actually went through and looked at what models were for a 2023 versus now and that kind of thing. And we did that 3-year or 2-year variation on every single one of those trucks out there. I don't remember what video it was. It has to do with resale. If you search resale, it'll probably pop up. But the Colorado was the one that beat everything. Okay, I did this one because I was pissed about my Gladiator, how it was supposed to hold great value, and it went downhill. And so I made that video talking about that and showing what was there. And it was, like I said, I showed it to you right there on the computer. And the Colorado actually had the best resale of every single truck, full-size and mid-size truck out there, hands down. So, again, take all of this with a grain of salt. These are the trucks and SUVs. 2025 best resale value trucks, EVs, and minivans. Apparently, they think it's okay to combine these three into a category of one, which makes zero sense to me. But look, the only truck on here is a Rivian at 43% retained value. I mean, come on. Oh, no, we do. We got a Maverick coming in at 53. A Tacoma coming in at 64. We got a Tundra coming in at 60. Like I said, pretty interesting to see here. The new, this has only been out for a year. We know nothing about what resale value is going to be on this. And again, a year ago, the resale on this thing was totally in a tank. It was done. It was over because of everything going on with it. So you take this stuff with a grain of salt. Next thing we want to show on here, though, is many of you guys complain about trucks that do not have wheel well liners. Here you go. Husky, look at $119, and they make them for a lot. This is for an F-150, but these are your rear wheel liners. Keep the noise down, the rocks down, the damage down. Look at, you don't have to buy the actual Ford ones and spend that money to upgrade. Husky makes these. I didn't even know they did. They also have them. Here's another one for the Chevy 1500. They're right here. So you get these options here. Something to think about anyway. I know a lot of you guys comment, no wheel liners, no wheel liners. Well, I just happen to have this ad pop up in my phone, and I was like, wow, people probably like to know that those are available and didn't know. So here it is for you. Husky has got a lot of wheel well liners for $120, and right there for you. So something to think about if you buy a truck that doesn't have them. They look like they're real simple to put on. So questions, comments, anything you got, put them below. Thanks for watching.